Hey folks, welcome to Dragonfly Projects. My name is Alex. If this is your first time here, welcome. Otherwise, welcome back. Glad to have you here today. This is the second phase of the garage. Now we're gonna do the inside part. We're gonna lay down the base plate with pressure treated wood and build the half walls that are about 5 feet tall that are gonna be hooked onto the sides here using these bolts. So I'm gonna have a nice flat surface to push things against, to hang stuff, to get my tools there, to get some power boxes, so it's gonna be a more usable garage. At the same time, the bottom plate is gonna be sprayed with spray foam. I bought enough for 600 board feet. We'll see how far that gets me. The main priority is to get all the little nooks and the bottom part sealed so that water doesn't infiltrate, because I did the outside. I also want to spray the inside to make sure it's nice and watertight. I feel this is going to be an ongoing process with some issues here and there. I did find some tiny leaks. There is a bolt on the ceiling that is leaking that I'll have to get to eventually, but we're talking very minor stuff. Yesterday, before the rain came, I did the other side. So if you've watched the first video where I waterproof this wall, I did the same thing on the other side. It was a bit of a challenge because there are the propane tanks, so I had to do a bit of acrobatics to get in behind there. I'll throw a footage of one of the problems I found where the base plate, the metal base plate on the ground here was meeting up and it was not really properly caulked. Actually, it's just easier to show you. It's been about a month now since we've caulked these seams, and this fix has worked very well. I still need to come back and tighten most of these bolts, but water is not infiltrating through here anymore. But now we found that this is the main culprit where some of the water is still seeping through. If a big rainstorm or rainfall is bringing some water, once we have snow and ice melting and thawing and melting and thawing, it's probably going to want to infiltrate back inside. So I'm going to try to remove this with a scraper and some heat, and we'll reseal it using the exact same caulk we used for the other side. I'm also going to clean the other side and do the same process. And there's 2 junctions per side, so 4 total. This one on the other side, one of them is hidden behind my propane tanks. So it might be a bit of a acrobatic event to try and get to them. So let's see what we can do here. Interesting. Seems like there's a seam here and they're not overlapping. Yeah, there's a seam and he didn't overlap them. They're just butt joints. So I might even remove the caulk I put myself to try and get in there. Wonder if I can come in and sink some type of bolt here, try and keep them to sit flat. I wonder if these came loose over time or we just never bothered tightening them. I mean, it would obviously never rain this hard in this direction. I'm gonna go take a peek and see what happened. Oh yeah, there you go. Sure enough, water is getting in. You can see it there. It is seeping inside. We can see here what I ended up doing. I got some Tapcons, drilled the metal, drilled the concrete, just made sure that everything was supported, because I really want that metal to not move, or not move as much with the changes in temperature. And then I just caulked the seam with the same caulk we used. So far it's holding well. There are some tiny wet spots inside that are not places that I thought would be problems. There's a spot on the roof that's leaking a little bit. Not sure why. A couple small droplets came in. So there's probably one bolt over there that's just a little bit on the loose side that I'm gonna have to go investigate. Make sure that everything is nice and tight. But so far, this seems to be working fine. And we have the back wall here that is completely dry. There's only a tiny bit of water up there, but I feel that's coming from the metal roof just leaking a bit, or the tree is dripping down on the actual wall. It's just a tiny bit of water on top there, not much sitting. Looking good. All right, so as you thought, it was a bit of a surprise. One bolt was missing or was never installed. So I hope that this fix is gonna help with the freezing, unfreezing, thawing, shifting, so that the base plate is gonna stay nice and stable and the caulk's gonna do its job. Today, the goal is to clean everything and then get the pressure treated down, spray foam it, and we'll go from there. A little trick so that your cords don't get unplugged. Just hold knot like that. So when you yank on it, it won't come loose. If there's only one thing you take out of this video, remember, be careful what you mix cleaning product wise. This is spray 9. Spray 9 has ammonium in it, so you don't want to mix it with bleach. Otherwise it creates, I think it's chlorine gas. All I know is it creates a very toxic gas that is lethal. You will die from it. Okay, so be careful what you mix. Actually, even easier, don't mix. And I'll probably want to tighten these bolts before I do it, because it'll be hard to access after. It doesn't have to be squeaky clean, but the cleaner I can get it, the better adhesion the foam will have. Well, 840 bolts later, a little over 2 hours, we're done tightening out the bolts. Yay! It's warm. Working inside of a metal garage when there's a heat wave warning. Not the best. I guess this is as clean as it's gonna get. Ooh, that took a while. Both sides are done, both sides are clean, both sides are caulked, sealed. We've tightened every single bolt that we won't have access to anymore once the walls are up. Now it's time for the base plates. Then we're gonna put the studs, or the half studs, are gonna go up to give or take 5 feet. And once that's all in place and secured, then we'll spray foam finally. Woo! Almost done. As you can see, I'm using an L bracket that I've drilled out one of the holes so it fits bolts as an anchor point for my wall. Sometimes the bracket's flush with the front, sometimes it's closer to the end, so. These walls are very beachy, lots of waves. I've got 3 more to do on this side. I'll complete it. I'll do the exact same thing on the other side. That will finish the prep for the spray foam, and I'll get back to you once we start spray foaming. I was just finishing putting up the brackets, and I don't know if you can tell. Oh, there's Claudia. Kemi's gonna go for a bath. Just look how out of square and wavy this wall is. That's wild. Here's the final result. A couple hours later, the foam had lots of time to cure. It's nice and firm, sticks very well. Ooh. Got somebody inspecting it also. It sticks on pretty well. It's cool to the touch compared to the metal. You can actually feel the difference standing near it. It is a little cooler, which is very nice. This is why I wanted to put the uprights before, just because I didn't want to deal with all the foam down there and having to cut it out, make sure it's okay. As you can see, I came back and I used an X-Acto knife to cut it flush so that my OSB sheathing can lay flat on it, no problem. And then I only did the sides for the back wall. Because it is a traditional wall framed like a regular house wall would be. 16-inch on center, 16-inch on center for the studs. So it fits regular household insulation, which is cheaper than the spray foam stuff. So I only wanted to do that where it needed to be sealed against an uneven surface, and the rest can take regular insulation, which will be cheaper in the long run. And I'm satisfied enough that eventually I would love to do the whole ceiling and build some wooden arches and then sheet those arches also to have a fully encapsulated structure and be able to better control the temperature. And eventually I would love to have a mini split unit to cool and heat the place. It would mostly be cooling because I would have the wood stove to heat the place for a lot cheaper. Well, to say that I'm relieved that this is over, I am extremely pleased with the results. This was stressful because the foam was very expensive. I was scared I would mess it up somehow. I went through the instruction manual. I read the SDS sheet, which don't quote me, but I think it stands for the safety data sheet that accompanies products. If you've ever done a workplace safety, WSIB, OSHA, or any type of training, you would know all about those sheets. I followed the instructions that they said. I wore the PPE, the personal protective equipment they suggested. So the painter's suit, the respirator against vapors, the glasses, the gloves. Funny enough, they suggested that the surface that you spray it on be between 30 and 38 degrees Celsius, and that your product itself, when you spray it, is around the 25 degrees Celsius mark, because they say if this is cold, the spray foam reaction is an exothermic, so it releases heat. And they say you don't want the material to absorb the heat of your chemical reaction. So it's better if the surface you're spraying it on is already a little warm, so it's not gonna suck in the heat from the reaction, and it will make it cure better. Cured nice and hard. It's stuck on there very well. I would hate to have to clean this up. So hopefully this will do the job of sealing against air and water leaks of whatever I didn't get, but I'm fairly certain that we're able to close up everything. So it ended up being about 30 degrees inside the garage when I was spraying. It took roughly an hour of me wearing that painter's suit. Just for funsies, I weighed myself prior and after, and I lost about 3 pounds of water weight. To say I didn't feel great afterwards would be an understatement. I felt like crap afterwards, an hour of sweating in that suit, but very satisfied with the finished result. I was not sure how much this would cover. It's good, at least the can said it was good for 600 board feet. A board foot is 12 inches by 12 inches by 1 inch thick. So these walls are 30 feet and I'm up 5 feet. So give or take, it's 150 board feet for 1 inch of insulation times 2. So that's 300 board feet just for the exterior walls. And then I had to do the back walls all around to seal it. And then I came back and I sprayed everything else. So basically I sprayed the bottoms, all the bolts, all the connections at first to make sure that it was sealed for water and air. And once I was satisfied that that was sealed and I had enough leftovers, I came back and I sprayed everything and all the spots I missed. So I'm very happy with the coverage. I figured that probably 1 or 2 more of those kits would be enough to finish the whole sides, the whole roof, and the front wall that we're gonna build similar to the back wall we've already done. I will probably fill the cavities with traditional insulation that I have lying left over, just because I don't wanna leave a void there for no reason if I can fill it up, because I will lose a couple inches due to the fact that there will be a wall. Might as well help with whatever insulation I can get. Guys, thanks for watching. This was the second phase of the garage. Spray foam is done. Now I'm gonna sheet this with the OSB I have. I'm also gonna run my electrical on both sides to have 20 amp outlets. I'm not gonna show that because this is not the point of the video. I'm not trying to show you how to wire things. Also, I'm not an electrician. This is not really a how-to video. It's more a follow me along on my adventure. So I'll do that part on my own. I'll drill through the studs, I'll install everything, get it on both sides, sheet everything, and then I'll come back to you for the next video where we're setting up the garage / workshop so I can start working in here and get some woodworking projects done and some stuff for the house. Very excited. At some point later on, the front wall will be the next phase after we're done the inside, but this will be quite costly as I need a front door, another window, and a shed / garage door to replace this one, plus all the wood that it requires to reframe, because this costs around $600 in materials just to reframe it. So then you're going to have to add the cost of a bigger window, a front door, and a garage door. So it'd be quite pricey. And I'll need some time to save up again. Guys, if you stuck around this far, thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, there's more content coming along. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, rude remarks, put them down below. I like to read what you guys say, and I'll try to answer any of your comments. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Glad to have you here.